Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to create a Valentine's Day project, but using things that we already have. So I have, for some background texture, this pierced cover plate. This is the blanket from Picket Studios. I mean, it has nothing to do with Valentine's, but you know, it's a nice little bit of noise in the background, and that's why I chose this a long time ago to purchase. And this is kind of one of those generic things that it doesn't necessarily, you know, it's not covered in hearts, or it doesn't have anything too specific, but it does create beautiful background texture, and that's what we want for this project. So I don't know if it's still available. I think it is, and I will link it down below, of course. Now, some options for masking. One, you could use the Masking Magic strips. Two, if you struggle for lining things up to make sure it's even, this maker's tape is brilliant because it's see-through, and you can obviously measure it using the line so that you know you are masking off an even border. Now, just before I even do some masking, I am going to trim this down just by 1/4 of an inch on each side. So this will end up being 3 3/4 by 5 inches, this little panel here. And then your third option for masking is something like a low-tack tape. Now, I use the mint tape from scrapbook.com. This is most often half price, 50% off, because it is one of their name brands, one of the scrapbook.com brands, and it is often on a great sale. And I have tried many low-tack tapes, and this is absolutely my favorite. I tried washi tapes for a long time, and honestly, it was hit and miss depending on the brand, depending on just how much adhesive, I guess what type of adhesive, how sticky it was, how old it was, and I found nothing more frustrating than when I had put time into a project and then I ruined it. So I definitely love my mint tape. Now I'm just choosing 3 inks. Now these Gina K ones do make life very easy. This is the light, medium and dark Carnation inks. And I know that she has more. I think maybe there's a blue one. I'm not sure. There might be a few sets of these, but this is the only one that I have. I have recently shifted to using the Gina K inks. I tried out a couple for a few months and just found them so versatile. So this is going to, from here on out, pretty much be the dye inks that I use. I really only carry 3 sets in general. And those are definitely not all full sets. In fact, I don't have a single full set of inks. I just have the ones that I need. So Gina K is generally going to be the dye ink, and I use the Distress Oxides as my hybrid, and the Versifying Clears are my pigment. And that's just what I have found personally works best for me. I have a very small craft space, as you know, so I don't have a whole lot of room for things. But yes, I need the things that I do have to be absolutely excellent and to use them in lots of different ways and to be really versatile. Now, I have just ink blended this panel, obviously. I have used one foam brush. They're one of my ink blending brushes, and I love these brushes. I used one for all 3 colors, and then when I go to put it back, I just tap off a little bit of ink and make sure that it's, you know, pretty good to go for the next time I use it. Now, obviously, my favorite part being the reveal is the stark white contrast, that beautiful panel that we have created. And I have found that these inks just absolutely smooth out to be a beautiful, seamless blend. And again, that's one of the reasons that I am using them. So here is a gorgeous panel. That texture in the background, I think, just really makes it. So we are going to move on to the next elements. Now, all you need for this is some hearts. Now, I have to work with what I have, and this is what I have. So here's what I'm going to do. These are the stitched heart dies from Pretty Pink Posh, and most of these have some sort of decoration on them. Some of them just have stitching around the edges, so we're going to take advantage of what we do have in front of us. I have these dies and I have plain heart dies, but the plain heart dies are not the same shaped heart, if that makes sense. So I am going to move ahead with these. Now, one cool thing about these is that even if you cut out the smallest plain heart and you want a pattern on it, you can actually use some of the bigger hearts to create pattern like this, even though that's not how it came. So I'm not going to do that today, but that's just an extra little hint for you. Now, I'm going to use some masking magic for this, and all I'm going to do is, using the masking magic, I cut out the same dies as I did with the cardstock, And then I'm going to use those stitched lines as a border or a guideline for cutting that out, because I want these hearts to stand out from the background. And if I colour them in the same inks, they're just going to sink in. Even if I pop them up on foam tape, there's just not going to be enough contrast. Now I could change the colour, but I want to keep them the same, and so I need something that's going to separate that, and usually a stark white border is going to do that beautifully. But as I said, I don't have bigger dies that just sit behind these and sort of stacking dies that would layer these really nicely. So this is my compromise. This is what I'm going to do. I have cut them out. I will create my own border, my own matting layer. This feels like the reverse of what I usually do. Usually I mask off so that there's just, 1 or 2 millimeters on the edge, and I ink it up to create a faux matting layer. Well, I feel like we're doing the opposite here. So you can see that these stick down really nicely. Give them a nice even push down. This little one, I just turned it upside down, gave it a good rub, make sure that masking magic is well set in place. And this is one thing I love about the masking magic, is that you can just guarantee it does not bleed through, and that is so important. So given that you give it a good press, you can add water to this, you can add all sorts, which is fabulous. I'm not adding water today. Well, actually, I kind of do. I'll show you in just a minute. Now, I'm putting these down on this is just a piece of 4-inch mint tape just to hold these down for a wee minute while I'm doing a lot of inking on these. Now I have the exact same colours that I used in the background. I have the same brush that I just used for the inking, and then I last used it with the dark colour, so now I'm going to use it with the light. So I'm just making sure that I haven't got too much on there. Now I went dark to light, dark up the top, light down the bottom. So I want to make sure that I do the opposite with the heart. So I want to go light up the top and dark down the bottom, a bit of an ombre look. And because these hearts are relatively small, I'm actually going to skip the medium, the middle colour, and just use the light on the top and the dark colour on the bottom, and that's perfectly fine. However, if you just have one colour of ink, simply go much lighter as you go up and don't re-ink your brush, and that way you will also get a beautiful ombre colour too. Just because I happen to have these in the pinks, as I said, I don't have any other colour that has these light, medium and dark variation, so this is just my lucky day. Now I have the U word die here, and I'm going to die cut this out a few times to also feature on my card. We're putting together all of the elements. I put some double-sided adhesive on the back here. Again, this is just to make my life easier, because I'm really only using sort of 2 colours. This is a pink and a white card. And so I just need to be really careful and creative around creating layers and separation between all of these whites and all of these colours. So to do that, I'm going to use the bold factor here and layer some of these up for some nice height. Not huge, because, it's just 3 layers of cardstock, but a little bit goes a long way sometimes. So this is just a really quick process. I just peel off that backing layer and then stick 3 of these all together, and you'll see in a minute where this is going to come into play and how these feature on the card. Now, the next thing I need is the little piece of sentiment to help me out. The Paper Rose All Occasions. I'm just going to take the word love from this, and that will go with the U that we have die cut. And so at this point, of course, all of these sentiments in this pack come in black on white, and then white on black. And so I figured I would get the black one out just in case. I just wasn't sure at this point. And again, I'm trying to be careful of all of the white on white that I have here, and make sure that you can read the sentiment really clearly, and that you're not sort of fighting to see what it says. So I will cut out both of these and decide later on. You'll be able to help me decide. And then once I've done that, there are just a couple more things that I want to do. So remembering that we have a white border there on our front panel going onto a white background, I want to use some foam tape to separate those two. And I have just purchased for the first time ever this big roll of foam tape. Now this is 1/16 of an inch or 1.6 millimeters thick, so it's not thick foam tape. This is from iCraft, and this is just a lot. There's 33 meters or 108 feet. So there's a lot of this. I've never ever purchased a big roll like this before. I am able to tear the tape as well, which I quite like. But again, this little bit of separation really does wonders between the white on white of the background. So that worked well. And then one other little thing I want to do just to add a little bit more to these hearts while I have them. Now I have a glitter pen here. This one is the scrapbook.com one. It's almost identical to a Wink of Stella pen, and what I'm going to do is actually just put a nice little layer of shimmer. Now remember earlier on I talked about with that masking magic that it holds up to water? Well, here I did not have to worry at all because I know that nothing is going to seep underneath it, so that was brilliant. And I'm just putting it down on a little acrylic block. I give the pen a good squeeze to get out a good amount of glitter, and then try and do a nice sort of even sweep over this. Now you may get a little bit, because these inks are water reactive, remember, which is brilliant, but you may get a little bit on your brush, and this is the clear glitter brush, even though they come in all sorts of colors. But here's the difference between one that has been glittered and one that has not. So I do like that extra little bit of sparkle that we're going to get on our card here, because the card is relatively plain. But check out this. This is so beautiful. And I was so happy that it worked so well. I really do love this masking magic. I love the strips. I love these sheets that they have, and I really truly do think that they are worthwhile, because as you can see, these are crisp white. There's nowhere where they've bled underneath or anything like that, and I was just using tweezers so that my big old fingers weren't here in the video. But anyhow, now it comes to placement on everything. I could have popped these up on foam tape, to be honest. However, I felt like I'm never a fan of sort of too much dimension. One layer of dimension is generally enough for me, one layer of foam tape. And so I'm going to put these all flat down, but you can see that they absolutely do not sink into that beautiful background, bearing in mind that the background is identical colors, exactly the same colors. And I just think this was really fun way just to use some plain heart dies with a little bit of stitching. And then we're going to add the word you on here. I'm just getting placement, but of course these have the adhesive on the back. I am going to add a couple of little dots of glue just for extra security. These are nice and thick letters that we're going to put on. So just peel off the release paper and then a couple of tiny wee dabs of glue. But yeah, as I said, this card really only has sort of the pink and the white, but I think that we made this work. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this card. Do you think it's a little too pink for your liking? By all means, you could choose to do this, you know, in blues or purples or all sorts. I can see this looking stunning for lots of different colors, absolutely not pinks. As I said, I was working with the three layers of pinks that I had, and I was keen to use those. Now here, would you have chosen the black or the white? Now, do you know what? I automatically go towards the white, but I thought I would change it up and go against my instinct, and I actually really like the black. I think it stands out beautifully, and I really, really like it. Either works absolutely fine though. Honestly, both of them look stunning. Now, instead of big sequins, I have this, it's kind of like glitter flat sequins, I guess, or like large glitter chunks or something. So I'm actually going to really carefully take some of those little chunks and just pop a couple around. I truly do not want to take away from anything in this card, and I love the finished look here. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you'd like to support my channel, I have a link to the Buy Me a Coffee website just down below here. And also at the end of this video, I will have some more videos that you may also like to check out and have a little look at. But other than that, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye.